Hey guys, Andrew Shroud here in the sideboard. I'm sitting with Reid Duke. How's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Andrew?
Doing all right. You chose to play Junk Midrange in Standard. This is not a deck that we've seen a ton of in this season so far. So tell me a little about this deck and why you chose to play it.
Well, this was in development right up until the last minute. I tried a variety of other things, spent a lot of time testing Jund. But the only thing that I knew for like the past 2 or 3 weeks was that I wanted to play with Abrupt Decay in this tournament. I feel that one of the keys to beating the blue-white and Esper matchup is being able to blow up their detention spheres, and therefore stick your resilient non-creature threats. One of the keys to beating mono-black is killing their underworld connections, and then the key to all the other matchups is just like having efficient early removal. So Abrupt Decay is just the perfect card. I think it's probably just the best card in Standard.
Wow. Okay, that's a strong endorsement.
Yeah.
Okay. So you started on Abrupt Decay, said my deck starts with 4 Abrupt Decay, and then the next step is figuring out what the best shell to build Abrupt Decay
Exactly,
around.
yeah. I thought a lot about playing like Black Devotion with a green splash, and I think that could be a really good deck as well, but I just really like the green creature base, the Courser of Krufix, Scavenging Ooze, and Sylvan Caryatid.
All right, yeah, your early game here, you have in your creature base a lot of 2-ofs, a lot of diversity, but you have one kind of a core of early game threats. You have 4 Scavenging Ooze and 4 Courser of Krufix, and then 4 Sylvan Caryatid as kind of your base as well.
Yeah, those are really the bread and butter cards that you want to see every game pretty much, and then a lot of the high end is diversified, but the Courser is really key.
Okay. Yeah, so past those creatures, once you get to the kind of the whammies, you've got 2 Pulchronos. You're a green deck, you're going to have some Pulchronos.
Yeah, it's a good fills a hole in the mana curve too. There's not many other 4s.
It is actually your only 4-drop, right? Yeah, okay. So 2 of those, and then you mentioned you have 4 5-drops, a pair of 2-ofs that you said were key and that you really wanted to, like, you kind of, like you said with Abrupt Decay, these were cards you really wanted an excuse to play. You have 2 Obzedat Ghost Council and 2 Archangel of Thin.
Yeah, so Obzedat's a card that I thought was like the metagame was perfect for it. If you look at all the Esper decks that have been winning recently, they're mostly just white-blue splashing for Doomblade, and they have no answers to Obzedat. So almost any deck you can choose in Standard is going to be an underdog in Game 1 against those control decks, but Obzedat is a great way, just a single card that can steal Game 1, like a fairly high percentage of the game, especially backed up by Thoughtseize. So Obzedat's really perfect, preys on a weakness in the metagame, and is just a really powerful card in its own right. And then the other one is Archangel of Thune, which is a little bit less targeted, but just a really powerful card in the deck. I have 10 main deck cards that gain me life in like a bunch of small increments. Scavenging Ooze, you can really go wild with an Archangel and a Scavenging Ooze. Really good with Courser of Krufix as well, and Obzedat if the game goes in that way.
Yeah, if you have Archangel and Obzedat, they're pretty good on their own. So but the synergy of course helps.
You think of Archangel as being like an anti-aggro card, but the thing is it's just an insane card.
It's just an enormous flyer.
At least against control, you put them in a situation where if they don't have Supreme Verdict immediately, they're going to be taking 50 damage. So it's just really good card, really happy to draw one in this deck.
Okay. Yeah, I'm really impressed with the threat base of this deck. I want to talk briefly about the spells. You already talked about Abrupt Decay. Kills Detention Sphere, kills Underworld Connections, and of course kills small creatures, so that's not dead against anything. Yeah. So that's big. One thing I'm really impressed with, you have your spell base is 4 Abrupt Decay, 4 Hero's Downfall, 4 Thoughtseize, then some Planeswalkers and some 1-ofs. But what I think is really cool about this is none of your spells are dead against Esper.
Right, yeah. That's a huge thing about the choice of removal too. Abrupt Decay blows up the Detention Sphere. Hero's Downfall answers the Planeswalkers, which otherwise would be, like some of the hardest things for me to deal with. The fact that I can permanently kill their Elspeth and they can't really do anything to my Elspeth gives me like a long-term advantage.
Sure. Yeah, their answer is Detention Sphere, which you have Abrupt Decay for.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I would assume then that Esper is the matchup you're most hoping to face?
Well, yeah, that's fair to say. Like anything else, it's pretty tough in Game 1, but I have 13 cards to bring it off the sideboard.
We'll get to that. Yeah.
Really good.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, so what else what are you hoping to beat? What are you hoping to get paired with?
I think I'm, like, close to 50-50 or a small favorite against most of the top decks. Mono Black comes down to, again, I can kill their Underworld Connections. They can't kill my Underworld Connections. Sure. And then a lot of the other Devotion or creature-based decks, I just have so much removal that it's hard for them to get any traction.
Okay. So what are you hoping to avoid here? What's your worst matchup, do you think?
It's these kinds of decks tend to be pretty well-rounded. They have versatile answers, so nothing's like too scary.
Sure.
I guess a creature-based aggressive deck, like mono red with Fire Drinker Satyrs or something, might just come out too fast because I have a lot of come into play tap plans.
Okay.
But I happen to be pretty good against the burn deck, which is more popular. So.
Yeah, sure. A lot of incidental life gain, big threats to slam like Archangel Finn.
Yep.
Sure, that makes sense. You mentioned you had a big sideboard package against Esper. You referred to Underworld Connections in Mono Black Mirrors. You have 1 in the main, and you have 3 in the board. So we'll kind of go over each of the cards in the sideboard kind of one by one, and just tell me why they're there and then where you bring them in.
Yep.
We'll start with the 3 Underworld Connections. Again, that's going up to 4 total.
Yeah, that's my late game plan in the slower, grindy matchups. Basically, mono black and Esper.
All right. You have 3 Duress.
Yep. 3 Duress, one of the best cards against control, obviously, but also pretty good against burn.
Sure.
Against burn, you basically just want any card that does anything to preserve your life total,
Right.
and Duress and Sin Collector similarly. It's
The
worth
next,
bringing in.
next card on the list there, you have 2 Sin Collector, and those are basically Duresses 4 and 5.
Yep.
You mentioned them against burn. You like the Thought Seize is not so great because they actually hurt you, but
Exactly,
you want
yeah.
discard that does not cost you life.
Yeah, I mean, if you take away their Warleader's Helix, that's effectively gaining you 4 lives.
Sure. I have 3 Mistcutter Hydra.
Yeah, that's mono blue and Esper.
Sure. And so this is 3, 6, 8, 11 total. I guess this is your anti-Esper package.
Yeah, and a couple of one-offs.
Yeah, it looks like the rest of your board is one-ofs. 1 Golgari Charm.
Yeah, a 5th way to destroy enchantments, and against Esper you can also regenerate from Supreme Verdict, or you can wipe out their Esper token, their Elspeth tokens. So just really versatile, good utility
Like a
card.
kind of well-rounded extra Abrupt Decay. Pithing Needle.
Pithing Needle for Aetherling or whatever Planeswalker they happen to stick. Also, that card is worthwhile to bring in against the Jund Monsters deck, because they have 4 Domri Raid, and usually like collection of half a dozen more Planeswalkers that you can name.
Okay, that's fair. And then the last 2 cards in the sideboard is Singleton Dark Betrayal and a single Doomblade.
Yeah, just to be able to mix and match, find the perfect removal suite.
Sure. All right, so we are just starting the second standard portion of the tournament.
Right.
How'd you do in the first standard portion yesterday?
I went 3-1.
3-1?
Had, 1-1 against the black-white mid-range deck, which is a close, grindy matchup, but overall, no complaints.
Sure. And you're X2 so far in the tournament.
9-2. Yep.
All right. So you're kind of within sniffing distance then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it's still early to count anything.
Oh yeah,
but,
of course.
So far so good.
I'm trying to jinx you, but you're sidestepping. It's cool. Thanks for sitting down with me, man.
Yeah, pleasure.
Stick around. We've got plenty more coverage coming to you of the Invitational here in Charlotte.